What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's happening with the overall market moving forward as we have big news involving Tesla. Also, something huge that happened over the weekend. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, and the offer ends in just a little bit over 2 weeks. Anyways, for the markets, I just wanted to mention that we had a tragedy that happened over the weekend. I was obviously unavailable due to a wedding to really break it down. But I just want to say that something terrible happened, and I really condemn any form of violence against anyone because of politics. I want to make that very, very clear. I don't care if someone's on the left or the right or if they're an independent. But one thing you have to remember is that violence is never the answer. It's never okay for someone to try to attempt to hurt someone. And what we heard over the weekend was horrible, horrible news. As you guys could see, former President Trump was in a dilemma, and fortunately he survived, so that's actually incredible to hear about. And I just want to say that this is something that should never happen. It was absolutely disgusting to see this happen, and I think that the U.S. Secret Service needs to do a better job at accounting for different contingencies, looking around and protecting former presidents. And simultaneously, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It's horrendous, and this should never ever happen here in the U.S. or anywhere around the world. So I just want to say that I wish former President Trump good health. I hope that he remains strong through this. I also wish President Joe Biden good health because he is our president, and whether you like him or not, it's your choice. But I just want to say that I wish him the best because he is going to remain the president for months to come, and he has a very, very important job to do, and we need him to be in the best shape possible. So I know about a lot of different forms of speculation, what people have said, especially after the debate. But I just want to say this, okay? I want to take the middle ground right now and just say I wish the best for both candidates, especially for the next election. And always remember that violence is never the answer. Now, the stock market ran like crazy during President Trump's presidency, and that was back in the 2020 period. It ran like crazy because of many different factors, from governmental aid, more liquidity being driven into the markets. His policies did play somewhat of a role, but there's all these other factors, right? And with him surviving after what happened, that's obviously more positive for the markets, so the market's going to likely gap up when we open. But we'll have to see if the market can maintain the levels it's basically at. That's going to be another very important thing that's worth noting. Obviously Tesla's kind of green, at least during the pre-market, so is SPY and many others, but we'll have to see if we could hold these levels. Going back, there's some news about Goldman Sachs earnings. Just want to call that out real quick. Goldman Sachs did relatively well. They actually beat on many estimates out there, beating on EPS and revenue. EPS was a nice beat at 8.62, and then revenue is also a nice beat. We also saw some nice growth overall, so that's actually very, very important. And then BlackRock also had its assets hit a record $10.6 trillion. So for some news about the markets for today, at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. So watch for volatility then. And then at 12:30 p.m., a little bit afternoon, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. When the guy opens his mouth, there's going to be some high volatility. Now, as far as Tesla goes, we have some good news. Tesla shares have once again gotten a nice increase and a nice overweight rating from Global Equities Research. That's a great piece of news. And they also have a price target from $340 to $400. That's part of why Tesla is up. It's also the overall market is playing a big role, but that's great news as Tesla has a $400 price target. That is more and more bullish. Now, on top of this, there's been a lot of talk about how DJT is on fire, and also Tesla's getting boosted, especially after everything that happened. Elon Musk also said that he's endorsing President Trump. That's very important as well. And with him surviving, it has its benefits as well. There's ups and downs, of course, at least for Tesla and all these other companies. But for Tesla, with the market running the way it did and the effects that, his presidency has had on the economy, that could also be more positive. And that's actually something that Kathy Wood talked about. And once again, guys, I'm trying to be very unbiased when I say this. I'm not trying to, form a bias. I'm just trying to tell you what the truth has been. And also moving forward, I just want to mention that another Tesla with over 400,000 miles was surviving on one battery, which just shows how sustainable Teslas could be. So anyways, that's what we're seeing for the news right now. But now the question is, the market's gapping up, obviously, but can we maintain this structure? If Tesla were to hold above 255, that's where our 20 EMA happens to be. If we dip a little bit and hold 255, we could be looking for a rebound. And to be very bullish, you want to break past 264, 262.5 and 264, and Tesla will be pushing back up to the highs. Now, if Tesla were to fail and we end up losing 255, we have this big gap to fill, which could take us all the way back down to 248. So watch 255 as key support. Tesla is pushing because of the bullish news that came out about the $400 price target. So we're kind of in the middle right now. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech later. I do see a risk of Tesla coming back down to fill this gap, but watch 255 as key support for confirmation. We'll see if Tesla ends up taking a move back down. So it is looking a little bit more probable that that's going to happen. For SPY, we're holding support at 561.7. That's where our support happens to be, and 561.27. If we lose 561.27, those two supports at our 20 EMA, SPY is going to be dipping back down to fill this gap towards 559. And if you manage to break above 562.5, look for 563.6. If we break the high, we remain very bullish, and this could start breaking out to 565 to 569. But if we establish a potential lower high, then this could be a lower high that's coming, and then we may continue to dip all the way down to fill this gap. So I'll be watching to see how things end up developing. That's also going to be very, very important. For Nvidia, we're trying to push a little bit higher. I do think that we might try to fill this imbalance, look for a little bit of a push towards 132, and then we'll see if we get a rejection or not. The technicals do look a little bit more bullish for this, but watch to see if 132 breaks. If this breaks, we're going up higher. If we reject, we're going to be coming back down. So watch for a test of 132 and see what kind of reaction we get. Bitcoin actually pumped quite a bit after the big news that came out about former President Trump and a bunch of other things. So Bitcoin is now at 62,000. It has potential to go a little bit higher towards the 63,500 area, so it might go a little higher. But watch and see if we get some kind of rejection or not. We have a nice looking recovery phase, so it's looking pretty decent in my personal opinion. But it may go a little bit higher. Now the QQQ, I'm a little concerned about this because our trend is more bearish. We had a high here, came down, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So it's starting to dip lower. To be bullish, you want to see it break past 500. If we fail to break 500, there's going to be a risk of us dipping back down to this imbalance, also this big gap to fill, all the way back down to 490, the 494s. So watch to see if we establish a lower high, we could reject to come down to the 494s. If we break 500, we turn back to bullish, but this is actually looking like we're making a lower high. We might be dipping back down. So watch for that very carefully. For Aapl, Apple's looking more bullish, trying to break out a little higher. We're actually at all-time highs on Aapl, and we have resistance at 236. And it looks like it might try to break through this, so it's still looking pretty promising in my opinion. If that breaks, we could be going all the way back up to about 237.5. If you reject here, make sure you watch 233.5 as key support. It might push a little higher towards 237 to 237.5, and then see what kind of reaction we get. We're still holding up quite well. IWM pushed up a little higher, but we do have this big gap to fill down here all the way down to 213. So if we lose 214.5, we're going to be dipping back down to fill that gap. If we hold above that, we could rebound to 216, but I do see a risk of it dipping. Just a few more. Amazon's still looking kind of lackluster, struggle to break out. I think that we could be dipping back down to the 192s, still looking a little bit weak compared to the market. Meta is just barely holding our key support. Let me show you again on the 4-hour time frame. We have this key support around our 200 EMA. We're barely holding this. So if we hold 497, we could try to rebound. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping all the way down towards 493. So watch 497 as key support. For Microsoft, we're also starting to dip a little bit. We're kind of rejecting out for 50 EMA. So this is actually favoring a move back down towards, all the way down towards 450. So that's looking a little bit more probable to me. And then Google's also rejecting. If we end up failing to hold 187, we're going to be dipping all the way down towards 184. So just be very, very careful. Anyways, guys, that's it for my analysis. The market is gapping up, but watch and see if we could hold support or not. That's going to be very key. If Tesla fails to hold the support, I call it above 255, then if we fail to hold that, we're going to be coming back down to fill the gap. If we hold 255, we could rebound, but we have to break past 262.5 to turn bullish and remain bullish. So we're still stuck within our range, but just be careful. There's a risk with this setup for downside to fill the gap. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. So watch your levels and get ready for Jerome Powell's speech later on. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks again and peace out.